Good morning. It's another Thursday, and we welcome you to the program, The Agenda. The Agenda is a program that sets to look at political participation and to bring in active people that will talk about politics today, and of course, talking about their parties and the agenda for the people. This morning on the program, The Agenda, we have with us of the People's Redemption Party, and that's talking about Dr. John.
People's
Democratic Party. Did I sorry, I got it mixed up there? People's Democratic Party, the PDP, as I would like to shorten it to be. And we have this morning with us Dr. John Ayuba, a teacher, a financial expert, a politician, and a capital by saying with little that I've read about him, a man of the people. He is the deputy governor to be of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. And of course, we'll have our questions and asking you to join us on our Facebook page. We're streaming live with this program. Join us and drop your comments in the course of the program. And of course, we'll give our landlines where you can call us. But I'm not alone on the program today. We will be looking at our guest on the program too. That's talking about the panelists that we have. Yeah, Yusuf Goji is here with us. Yusuf, good morning. Glad to have you.
Good morning to our listeners.
And I have Lawrence Obewe also here with us this morning. And of course, we'll have the question set for you. But before we go any further into the program, I'd like to welcome you, Dr. John Ayuba, to the program. Good morning and glad to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me. And good morning, the people of Kaduna State.
Okay. First, I throw the first salvo, and I just want to look at where you're coming from. I'm looking at your party, and I'm looking at where you're coming from. You're from the southern part of Kaduna. Now, one of the things I know about that, that zone of the state is that scholars, brilliant ones, have come out of there. But I just like to put it this way with you: occupation of the people of southern Kaduna has always been farming. They are into farming. And of course, we know again that southern part of the zone 3 of Kaduna State has suffered much of the insecurity that we talk about in Kaduna State. And so people have been displaced. Ancestral lands have been vacated because of the insecurity in the state and going to the farms. A lot of people have, stayed away from the farms. Your party, they're aspiring to come as the party to be come 2023, would want to look at your plans and what you have set up for the youths, the teeming youths of Zone 3, and of course the state too, about how all of the insecurity challenges that we're having can be, solved in Kaduna State.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Alabi. I couldn't have put it better than you in terms of describing the situation, not only in Zone 3 or Southern Kaduna, but in the whole state, Kaduna State. Farmers have been displaced everywhere. People have been driven away from their ancestral homes by insecurity. And that is why my party, the People's Democratic Party, has as its number one agenda security and good governance. We're tying the two because we believe that with good governance, part of the security challenges can be addressed. And why we say so is because if you look at the fact that the traditional institutions has been completely bastardized, and it used to serve as a good information link between the people and the security institutions. Now we don't have people to report bad people that come into communities ahead of even their coming. In addition to that, our party is interested in youth and women empowerment. And we're not just saying it for the sake of saying it. We've done it in the past. Like I always tell people, you have a party that has done it before. Why go trying someone else who is just going to start experimenting? We did it for 16 years. Don't mind the propaganda that said the party didn't do anything in 16 years. The records are there for everybody to see. I don't think this government has, the APC today, has done anything in the rural areas since it came in. until recently when they started doing some urban roads in one or two local governments of Kaduna. If you have about 65% of the people living in the rural areas and you've concentrated development in only one or two local governments, how are you helping the people of the state? So we have done, quite a lot. We want to empower the youth. How are we going to do it? We know that the youth today are technology savvy. One of the plans of the government of Right Honorable Issa Ashiru is to ensure that we have technology villages in the 3 senatorial zones. And because the future of the world, the future of Nigeria, the future of Kaduna State is going to be driven by technology. And we can't afford to be left out. So one of the things that we're going to do is to establish technology hubs, some form of Silicon Valleys, so that the young people can express themselves. The jobs that will be available will be technology driven. They won't be the ones that people of my generation embarked upon. So, but even before that, what of the farmers? Since this government came in 2015, there are some poverty alleviation measures that the government of the PDP used to embark upon, providing fertilizer at subsidized rates, ensuring that other inputs were available to farmers. And that was why agricultural production was on the high side, or was improving by the day. Now, this government came in and said that agriculture is a business. Yes, it's a business. But what do you do with the subsistence farmers? Are they in business? Really? Our expectation is that you need to build the capacities of these farmers before you let them drive on their own. But having been left on their own too early, and coupled with the fact that insecurity has driven them away from their farms, you could see the consequences. Even those of us living in the urban areas, how are we able to get food? What is the cost of food items in the market today? So these are some of the challenges that we want to come back and correct. We've done it before. Everybody saw it. And things were moving in the right direction until we had this people coming in to disrupt the smooth flow of progress that was taking place in communities.
All right. Thank you for giving us the background to all. But Yusuf Goji.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So thank you for honoring our invitations again. Just to also take us a bit back, I know he talked about the geographical location where you come from and the fact that there are a lot of people of intellectual repute from that area. So just to say, who is Dr. John Ayuba, so that people would know whether you belong to that category of the intellectual class from Southern Kaduna. And probably there are a lot of people that are also curious to really know you and a bit of your background and what you bring to the table based on the governorship ticket of the PDP as a running mate.
Thank you very much. I come from a very humble background. One sleepy village called Samaru Kataf, and that's where I was born some 64 years ago. And from there, I went through the routines of a primary school, and I went to Zaria for my secondary school. Subsequently, I was admitted into the Ahmadu Bello University, where I did my first, second, and third degrees. After my first degree, I was engaged by the university as a lecturer. I was there for about 10 years before I left for what people popularly call greener pastures. And I joined the banking industry in Lagos. I was in the banking industry for about 25 years until the late Yakoa invited me to join his government in 2011 as his Commissioner of Finance. I was his Commissioner of Finance until he died, and subsequently I was redeployed by the governor who succeeded him to the Ministry of Water Resources. And since then, I think I've been in politics, trying to see how I can move forward the agenda of the people of Southern Kaduna until I got invited to have a bigger picture, or to look at the state as a whole rather than just Southern Kaduna. So whether I'm an intellectual will be left for the people of Southern Kaduna to determine. But I was in academics for 10 years.
Okay, so that qualifies you as an intellectual. All right, so we'll just also start with your assessment, probably on a scale of 1 to 100. We want to know how you score the incumbent government, and this is important because government is a continuum. When you come, there are things that, yes, probably you might replace or totally abandon, and there are things that you need to sustain. Because despite the fact that you're from different political parties, development does not recognize party. It recognizes consistency. There are some policies that need to be sustained and whatever. So we want to generally know what is working, what you have seen that is working well, and what you feel is not working well. But before you answer, I just want to share a quote by the spokesman of the then candidate of the APC in 2014, when he issued a statement on behalf of the now governor. And this is what he had to say in 2014 about the PDP government, which you were a part of. He said the incumbent government is entitled to delude itself that its spendthrift and ineffectual style is actually the apogee of governance. But the people of Kaduna State see, feel, and know the worsening levels of insecurity, debt burden, infrastructural decay, corruption, and poverty in the state. The community is being subjected to unrelenting slaughter in southern Kaduna, know there are security issues, and that the government has treated them with indifference. So do the communities in the Birnin Gwari area who have endured unresolved attacks on their lives and chattel. Human suffering in these parts is a reality, and denying it does not mitigate the pains of those who are affected. Rather, it confirms them in their conclusion that the state government simply does not care. It took the governors months to consider visiting affected communities in southern Kaduna, despite the savagery of killings recorded there. So much for bringing the communities and people of the state together. So this is a statement released by Alhaji Mohammed Sabo in 2014, a statement he released on behalf of the APC then candidate. So 7 to 8 years after, what is your assessment? Has he changed the situation from what he condemned your same party in terms of debt, in terms of security, and specifically the area you come from, southern Kaduna? So we just want to hear your thoughts on all of that.
Thank you very much. I wish this tape could be played back to the governor today. I am sure he will be very upset that those statements were made on his behalf, or he asked that these kinds of statements be issued. Because in every ramification, everything he said that was negative about the government of the PDP as at that time has only gotten worse. Take security, for instance. If people were being attacked in 2014, today they've been driven away from where they were staying. Because to be attacked at that time, it meant they were in their places of abode, or they were in their residences. But today they've been driven away from their ancestral homes, so which is much worse than what it was in 2014. Two, if you look at the issue of infrastructural development that they complain about, almost all the roads, except the roads in Kaduna North and parts of Kaduna South, and they've only gotten worse than he made them. I want the government to point to me one rural road that they have done in the past nearly 8 years of the administration. None. All those roads, or 99% of those roads, were built by the PDP government during the governorship of Senator Ahmed Makarfi, Namadi, and Yakowa, and Ramalan Yero. So, if you look at it, it was, I mean, he, in actual fact, is indicting himself. And that's why I'm saying if he gets a playback of this, he will literally be burying himself, or he'll be getting a cover to hide himself. It's always very easy to come out and criticize. And when he was making those criticisms, I told those who cared to listen at that time that he didn't have the administrative prowess to understand what governance is, and that he was talking textbook administration, and I've been proven right. He didn't have the capacity to understand really what the issues were, and why we were at a stage that we were at that point in time. So, looking at it, he has performed on a scale of
1 to 100.
1 to 100. You know, I'm a former teacher. I will just, because of, if you check most of the programs in terms of what he has as policies in the books, they look beautiful. But in implementation, there's nothing to write home about. So I'll give him 40% because of the policy enunciation that we have seen. And even these policy enunciations, I know that they are not strictly his government policies. We know the open government program of the development partners that they have brought to bear in this administration. They have written most of these things for them. And maybe that's why it is more difficult for them to implement. Some of us have worked in the private sector, and we understand very clearly what development partners are looking at when they want to partner with you. We'll do a lot of things differently. We don't intend to come in and do exactly what they have done, which is of turning everything, destroying all in the name of trying to blackmail the previous administration. We are people of people with reason. We'll look at the policies, the ones that are still good for the people of Kaduna State. If there's need to tinker with the implementation guidelines, we'll look at them, tinker with them, and continue with them. But the ones that don't look like they are going to help the people of Kaduna State, those are the ones that, we may need to do away with. So we wouldn't, as a government, as you rightly said, government is a continuum. So we won't just come in there and say we want to reverse everything that has been done. Of course, there are things that, we will reverse. For instance, the dismissal of, some of the district heads, the complete distortion of the traditional institutions that we had, which was a smooth, which was being smoothly, operated. We'll have to reverse that. There was a basis for what they found on ground, and it came because the PDP governments of the time interacted with the people, and what was done was in line with what the people wanted. And when you talk of building a state or building a nation, you can't do it by imposition. You build it by cultivating the people, by ensuring that you can mobilize them to support whatever it is that needs to be done, which unfortunately is not is what was not done in the past 7 years plus. And if you talk of even the complete destruction of the civil service, which I dare to say is going to take us years back, or has taken us years back, it is going to take us many years to bring back the civil service. And when you look at the civil service, you don't just say because there are things that are wrong with the way some of the civil servants do things, therefore you throw away the water, the bad water with the baby. You don't do things like that. If you look at what they have done with the teachers, the way teachers are being taken out and new ones brought in, even the ones that are brought in, after a couple of months they are taken away, they're taken out again. Any right-thinking person knows that that is not the way to motivate anybody to perform. Add to it, the probationary period of 1 year or more that they are giving some of them, they don't know what their tenure is. What motivation are you giving them? There's absolutely no motivation. So some of these things we have to, rescind and bring back some stability in employment, bring some stability in the tenures of people so that they know that when they join, they go to work, they can relatively say, I'll be working in this place for this number of years, except I decide, to quit. And even if I'm going to quit, I'll follow the right, lay down procedures for quitting. If we have a government that wakes up and stands its procedures on the head and doesn't respect them, and even when people go to court, nobody respects that. So these are things that obviously we'll do away with. People must have confidence in the government. People must know that the government is a responsible institution. You don't expect the worker, you don't expect the citizens to be responsible if the government is irresponsible.
Thank you very much, Doctor, and thank you for coming. I think where you stopped is a good place for me to build on my next question. Now you've talked about the reforms, how you're going to look at it, and check which one to stay and which one to go. But we already know that as a political party, you're supposed to have your blueprints that people can look at, including the strategies of how you're going to implement them. I want to know, and I know a lot of our listeners will want to know, do you have the blueprints that you're going to implement that people can look at and hold you accountable by that? That's one. Then two, if you have, we know that revenue is going to be a very scarce commodity in the next for a few years, whether you're going to spend 4 or 8 years, depending if people choose you. Are there also strategies of how you're going to source revenue to be able to implement this blueprint if you have one?
Thank you very much. We have a blueprint. If you know the governorship candidate of the PDP, he's been, this time around is the second attempt at the governorship in the PDP. So you wouldn't expect that in over 8 years he doesn't have, a blueprint. He does have a blueprint, and that blueprint is hinged on 5 major issues that he is going to address. The first is security and good governance, because this is the critical issue for the people of Kaduna State today. And they say you don't discuss security matters over in the public, but the best I can say is the policy that this Ishiru administration will run will be driven by the communities. It is going to be a security policy that empowers the local communities, one, in their capacity to respond to security challenges, two, in their capacities to give out valuable information to the security forces. These are the 2 key areas, since we know they are not armed. The government of the day has tried to have a vigilante group as their response to the current challenges. I dare to say that they are the most ineffective. I just see them at weddings or some other with stakes, and that's not the kind of solution that you need for the kind of challenges the local communities are facing. We will look at empowering them, the more. Look at what Benue State has done of recent. See what the southwestern states have done with their Omotekun. Even some of the states in the north, in the southeast. Why can't we replicate some of these things in Kaduna State? without intent to make, to militarize the communities. We should go beyond having people with sticks. Even the local communities have sticks. Without these people. So that is for security. But like I said at the beginning, security without good governance is not going to work. That if you have job security, if you have security of your ownership of your land, then you can expect that a lot of the issues can be addressed. Secondly, if you look at education is a key area that, policy area of the government of Right Honorable Issa Ashiru. And over the past 7 years plus, the government has spent on the average about 25% of its entire budget on education, on the average, every year. And if you look at it, if you measure it against the performance, take the secondary education, for instance. When we left government in 2015, Kaduna State used to rank among the top 6 or top 7 performing states in terms of students that graduate with 5 credits, including maths and English. We used to be in the top 6 or 7. The records are there to check. Even with the expenditure that we were incurring, which is far below the humongous amounts that are being quoted today, as being spent by this government. Today, Kaduna is not anywhere near the top 10. In fact, in 2021, we were about 26th or 25th in the whole country. States like in the north, like Nasarawa, Benue, have long overtaken us. We used to be number 1 in the north, in the 19 northern states. But today we're nowhere to be found. So where are these monies going to? So somehow, I agree with you that we'll need to generate revenue. But the first thing we have to do, the first quick fix we have to do is to check how those resources are being spent on this. Maybe we're funding corruption. What the government has been doing is just funding corruption and nothing more. Maybe it's what they may have been using to buy votes and all other things that are taking place. So the first thing will be to ensure that we obtain value for money. The money that we're spending on education is rightfully spent. So many schools today have no roofs. Some have no chairs. Some don't even have classroom blocks. They are receiving lessons under trees and all that. And which was what the government in 2015 when they came and said they found. So since they've spent all these amounts of money and we cannot see anything on ground, anything different from what they meant, it means it's a failure. How do we get resources beyond what beyond the savings that we're going to ensure we get from getting value for money? Of course, we have development partners that are very keen in helping the people of Kaduna State. We've been one of the key states in the entire north, and I dare say even the country, that have enjoyed the benefit of sponsorship by the development partners. But unfortunately, if you look at, I'm not too sure, we're not, I don't have the permission of the development partners, to say this. I'm not too sure they are happy with the level of implementation of some of the policies that they've spent their money on. So we want to first and foremost be very transparent enough to tell them that we will be very open under this open government partnership to ensure that we cannot receive more funding. Quite unfortunately, the government has destroyed most of the sources of tax revenue that we could have received. So it's going to be a very big job, but we will have to try to re-establish the business community. The artisan businessmen are an integral and important part of the development of this state, and we cannot just ignore them. in favor of big supermarkets. Because it's not everybody that, you can't, how many big supermarkets do we have in places like Giwa? Do we have big supermarkets in Bernungwari? Do we have big supermarkets in Kavanchan, in Zemkwa, in Kauru? So these are the kind, the artisan businessmen are an integral, and I dare say they are the largest business community as far as Kaduna, state is concerned. So we will rebuild them.
The program is the agenda, and this morning, as our guest in the program, Dr. John Marcus Yuba. I guess this morning he is, the running mate of the Issa Ashiru ticket under the PDP in the state. And we thank you for, the explanations given to us, the questions that have been asked. But again, we'll go for a commercial break. When we come back from this break, more questions will come your way.
We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Are you serious? Victor FM.
When you wake up in the morning before you start your day, breakfast time is Kellogg's time. For work and for play, for a great start to your day, breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
Give your family a tasty, nourishing breakfast of Kellogg's cereal, powered with the goodness of grains and 11 essential vitamins and minerals. Now also available for just 15 naira.
Breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
Honey, must you go?
Babe, you know I must. Besides, you can always video call me.
Hey, what if your battery runs out?
I've got my power bank.
Hey, and when your power bank runs out?
Babe, I've got my laptop.
Okay, wait. What if your data runs out?
Babe, you know we never run out of data.
Never run out of data with Airtel Home Broadband Unlimited Ultra plans. Enjoy unlimited data with no speed cap plus extra data daily, so you never have to worry about running out. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Babe, but I just left the house.
Yes, honey. It's video calling all the way.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Taste it, love it. It's a beautiful day. You better taste it, love it.
Enjoy the creamy coffee taste of Cowbell Coffee. Round the clock, it's really delicious. Taste it and you will love it. Cowbell Coffee. Taste the creamy side of coffee.
Now available in multi-pack pouches at 750 naira only.
Power oil, power oil. Bunga cooking oil, we get different sizes and different packs. Oh, power oil, power oil. The one way they sweet me na mini pack for 100 naira. Yeah. Power oil, power oil. Everywhere. Power oil, good for your heart. Power oil, cholesterol. Power oil, no trans fat. Power oil. And people who listen to your heart use power oil. Power oil, power oil. Power oil.
Hadiza, yaya tafiyan ki Maiduguri? Na ji daɗin Arewa. Rabiskan da na ci a can na da kamshi da ɗanɗano mai katarwa. Iye.
Binci ya nuna.
Ke Larai, ke ma shi kika dafa? Kuma ya fi wancan daɗi. Ta yaya kayan almashin girkin onga kike bukata domin ɗanɗano da kamshi mai kayatarwa. Farantaran waɗanda kike ƙauna da lafiyayyen ɗanɗano a gidanki.
Onga, Mama's helping hand.
Everybody sabi, that no sabi for people who sabi. Good for the body, good for the pocket. That no sabi, double milky enjoyment. Oh, you get the protein, you know the tap pocket. Oh, only 14 naira, and it is totally body. Oh yeah, double milky enjoyment. Whether not the, that no sabi for people who sabi, that no sabi.
As football season won't start so, everybody don't ready to land for them location. Hurricane, Ihan Nacho, De Bruyne and Co. don't show EPL bus stop. Benzema and the Spanish League boys don't reach La Liga too. Giroud, Lukaku, even Pogba don't follow enter Serie A.
Serie A day.
Everybody don't show for the new football season as it dey hot on Top Go TV.
Now so, my people, now bigger season with Premier League, Serie A, La Liga, Europa, FA Cup and more. Also ready yourself for FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. Stay connected to Go TV or get Go TV decoder, Go Dinner plus 1 month max subscription for only 6,900 naira to enjoy greater football this new season. Go TV, love it.
Quartz Mega Promo da Total Energies na ba da damar iya samun kyaututtuka idan kuka sayi man injin Quartz na lita 4 ko lita 5. Akwai kyaututtuka da yawa za a iya samu a wannan gasar har ma da sabuwar mota. Ziyarci kowane gidan man fetur na Total Energies ko masu izinin sayar da man Quartz don shiga. Wannan gasar za ta fara daga 1 ga watan Yuli zuwa 31 ga watan Agustan 2022. Akwai ka'idoji da matakan gasar.
For a very long time, I was in a toxic relationship with my partner. I kept making excuses. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe I need to refresh. Maybe I should log out and log in again. Maybe I need to go out and climb that tree. And maybe it's just bad. But not anymore, because I found the perfect partner. MTN Broadband. With its reliable and wide coverage, no more maybes, just goals. So, hashtag MTN Broadband and I for life. Hashtag relationship goals.
MTN Broadband. Get yours today and enjoy internet bliss. Visit any MTN store to get yours now or visit www.mtn.ng/broadband. MTN Broadband. Data that's got you covered.
The Agenda. The Agenda is a public enlightenment program designed to give power back to the people through promoting political participation, issue-based campaigns, and social accountability. The Agenda is a weekly program of active citizens by active citizens for all citizens, featuring in-depth analysis, news commentary, and issue-based interviews with stakeholders in governance and electoral process. The Agenda is about you, the listener, your power to determine who leads you, setting the agenda for public office seekers and holding them accountable. The Agenda, mobilizing citizens to meaningfully engage the 2023 general elections by making sure those seeking their votes have real intentions of true representatives. Tune in every Thursdays at 9 a.m. on Invicta FM 98.9. Join the conversation via phone-in and comments on our social media handles. Powered by Partnership for Issue-Based Campaigns in Nigeria, PICAN, and Invicta FM 98.9, Kaduna. The Agenda. Nigeria. My agenda.
Welcome back. Is the program The Agenda this morning, a program that is all about setting the agenda for the dispensation that would come in 2023. And our guest this morning, Dr. John Ayuba, sharing thoughts with us with what his government of the PDP plans for the people of the state. Now, I got interested in the course of the discussion with emphasis that you placed on communities, and in terms of security you were looking at community participation in the issues of security. In terms of development too, you also talked about infrastructural developments that we see in the cities, and here I'm asking you your plans for the communities in terms of industries, and make this rural urban migration unattractive. What are your plans in these areas?
Thank you very much for this question. And I have looked at what the current government has done in concentrating development, infrastructural development in terms of roads in the urban areas. And that's a great setback on the drive that took decades of stopping the rural-urban drift. You know that before the onset of the PDP government in 1999, a lot of people, there was hardly any rural development, and most of the young people saw the urban areas as the areas of attraction, because those were the areas that had pipe-borne water, that had light, that had good roads. The PDP government then came in and brought development, brought good roads, brought light, brought water, and other infrastructure to rural areas. And this rural-urban migration was greatly reduced. In fact, to an extent, it was almost, stopping, because there was not much attraction in the absence of jobs in the urban areas. People could stay in the rural areas and farm. And so our target is to ensure that we reverse this trend by providing these facilities that used to be there. If you look at, I earlier on said I challenged the government to show us one rural road that they have rehabilitated in the last 8 years, 7 years plus. There is none. Even there's not a single new water scheme that they have done. All those ones were done by the PDP government, and I did. Some of them are, almost running aground. So this, our government will ensure that, one, these projects are rehabilitated, these roads are rehabilitated, and even new ones will be done to ensure that we stop this urban-rural drift, because it has actually even been accentuated by the lack of security in the rural areas. Everybody is running to the urban areas because that's where they think security is. So if we want to stop the drift, we must provide that in over 16 years the PDP government did nothing. Those of us who are over 40 years today will know what our rural communities looked like 20 years ago, and before the advent of the PDP government. And we know what happened in the 16 years of the PDP government. And therefore, anybody who comes to say that a PDP government has done nothing is, I dare to say, just lying, nothing more than that. So we will continue to work. Propaganda doesn't, in any way move society forward. Even the Goebbels of Germany, so you saw how they ended. So at the end of the day, you just need to sit down and work. And our desire is to work to bring back, infrastructure development to rural communities, to ensure that as much as possible, what we call the dividends of democracy, reach them.
All right. So maybe I'll just want to also add around community development, because looking at it, that is the area that is hardest hit by insecurity. And without security, development cannot happen in rural communities, as well as also economic activities like agriculture, which is the mainstay of rural economies, cannot actually be tapped into. So I'm just curious, because we've seen this government allocate about 30 billion to security over the past 6-7 years. We've seen a ministry of internal security and home affairs that has been created. We've seen the government say they are providing logistics to security agencies. We've seen CADVIS, and only recently, I think they've now been armed. We see them holding guns currently. We have the command and control center that this government has established, which they say costs the state about 1.2 billion naira. They've said they've bought drones, they've bought CCTV, and as far as also even setting up a peace commission. So the question that would quickly come to mind is that what else will you do differently? Because if all of these things is in place, then what are you bringing new to the table? And in your own mind, what has made all of these factors with so much money put into it? And because on average every year we see about 2 billion thereabout going for security votes and all of that. So what would your government do differently, and why is it that what we have on ground is not probably yielding as much the result as we would want to see?
You permit me if I partly answer you with a rhetorical question. And one is forced to do that because all the things you have enunciated as having been done by the government, the drones and all that, where are those drones? How come it is possible to attack a community for hours on end and the attackers go scot-free? How come you say you have a control, a command and control center? Where does it monitor? Is it monitoring only the urban centers? Or how come they are unable to see attackers move from one village to the other and attack and annihilate people? So for me, I'm looking at how effective have those measures, if those things are actually even there. I've not seen a single drone. In fact, the CCTVs that you are talking about, I just saw a few of them on the new roads that are being done in Kaduna North. That's where I see are there, bandits attacking people in Kaduna North? I don't know. The people that are being attacked are in Bernongwari, in Giwa, in Zangon Kataf, in Jama, in Kaura. Do you have CCTVs there? I can't see the CCTVs. So you are misapplying resources. Where you need the CCTVs, I don't see them. I'm sorry, that I'm asking these rhetorical questions. It's easier said than done. I don't see those things, so I don't believe. Maybe they are mystery CCTVs, or they are mystery zones. Drones that that are operating, because they are called a mystery because they don't appear to see the attackers. So if they are not seeing the attackers, they are not locating them, and giving that information to the security forces to counter the attacks, then they are of no use. So we will do things differently. One, when we say there are drones, you will see the drones. They will work. They will not be on the pages of newspapers or in the media only. You will see those things physically. If we say there are CCTVs, we will take them to where they are needed. So we are doing things differently. We won't put them in Kaduna, and the people that we're supposed to monitor are in the rural communities. So I think it's a misplaced a priority. So for us, when we come in, I have said that if you don't empower, because the number of security forces that we have in this country is too inadequate. And that's why I always find it difficult to blame the security forces. They are actually, in terms of numbers, they are inadequate. So the only way we can complement their efforts is to empower the rural communities such that they are not just sitting ducks. They are not helpless. They just, their role will not be just to pick a telephone call and say we're being attacked. They should be able to make it a little bit more difficult for the invaders to come in quickly, do whatever they want to do, and then go away. These are the kind, that's why I say it is our security policy will be community-based. It will ensure that because we don't have adequate manpower in the security forces in the country, we need to complement them by getting the communities capable to assist themselves.
All right. So again, before we look at the critical sector deeper, like education and health, we just want to still come back to the issue of revenue. and even looking at debt, because regardless of how beautiful your blueprint is, regardless of how strategic your implementation plan would be, without the resources, the money to do it, it will just be ink on paper. And so just to ask, also this current government have come out to tell us that they are at that level where they can even begin to pay salaries without depending on the federal allocations. And they have also put out data where it shows that from 2015, when we were generating about 13 billion, they have taken it to about 52 billion as of last year. I also have seen reports like the Auditor General's report that might have disagreed with the government's position in terms of revenue, where it also said that probably these revenues are over-exaggerated and too bogus. And also the Auditor General's report for 2021 also highlighted some critical leakages. For example, 3 agencies were highlighted where about 1.6 million was collected, but the consultant collecting this tax on behalf of government only remitted about 800 million or so. So those leakages still exist. So I put that side by side again with challenge of debt, although many have also challenged that, yes, you people talk about debt, but we can see it in the urban renewal and all of those things. But again, it's still an issue that we must discuss, because it will be something that any government that comes in must confront. And we are about 307 billion now. This year alone, we are going to be servicing that debt with about 12.9 billion. And also don't forget that we collected it in dollars, part of this debt. And I think in 2022, even without collecting 1 naira extra because of the exchange rate challenge that we have, it increased by about 42 billion naira, just even without collecting. So these are real challenges. Security is also affecting investors because based on the debt sustainability report or strategy of the state government, they said it is these investments that they want to depend on to pay or service and pay off these debts in the future. But again, the governor had admitted in his media chat that some of these investors are not willing to come in, even those that have started, like the one in Jere Kagarko local government. I think it's a steel mill or something, that they are finding it difficult to come back and complete such projects. So it means our revenue is going to be really an issue. So what will your government be doing also differently? Because without all of these things sorted, and I want to also add, our liabilities is almost about 23 billion naira. So with all of this very difficult financial situation, where would your government, or how would your government generate the revenue to be able to carry out capital projects, to be able to pay salaries, to ensure there is enough money for overheads, to ensure that we service our debt and pay off our liabilities?
Thank you very much. And let me start by saying that transparency is a sine qua non in any government that desires to keep its part with the community or with the people, or to keep the social contract it goes into with its people. Any government that starts on a platform of lies, you always find, no matter how it covers it, it will always burst, open. And let me just briefly make this comment. When the government at the beginning, this government, I'm talking of this current APC government, came and it said it had increased revenue generation by almost 100%. I was a former commissioner of finance in this state. I knew it was not possible. I knew it was a lie. And I did my investigation, and it was very obvious that all they did was to consolidate the collections that used to go to the local governments into the total revenue for the state. And under a PDP government, the revenues, most of the revenues that were collected by the local governments were used for the development projects of the local governments. So when they added up what the state government was collecting with the local governments, it looked like the revenue profile of the state had gone up, which was, which was not true. And you just played back that statement that was issued by the government in 2014, which accused the PDP government of living a huge debt profile at that time. I mean, when you compare to what we have today, what we left behind was a child's play. I mean, it's very obvious. And maybe what you didn't also say is that most of those debts that this current government has incurred will fall due as a new government and as a PDP government, which is coming in 2023, is taking office. That is how bad the administration of debt is in this current government. We're not going to complain as they used to complain. We're complaining before we come into office. When we come into the office, we will hit the ground running. The first thing we'll have to do is to sit down with those creditors, because we need a breather. If we don't pay salaries, if we have a revolt in our hands, there is no government who will even prepare the payments for you. So the first thing we'll have to do is to sit down with the creditors and give them a transparent revenue profile of the state as it is. And I dare to say that as it is right now, the profile cannot meet the debt service, not to talk of repayment of the principal elements of those loans. So when we confront them with these realities, we think they will understand. And what we want to do is to restructure the repayment pattern of those loans that they incurred. Maybe the government was desperate to just take the loans and they didn't look at what the revenue profile was, or they may have given bogus revenue profiles, and that is why the the Auditor General is saying in his report that most of the revenue projections of the MDAs are bogus. They are not attainable. So if that is the case, we will have to tell our development partners, we have to tell our creditors, sorry, this is the reality on the ground. How do we work? We are partners. And a partnership means you understand where I am and you are prepared to work with me along to ensure that we find a common solution which will be beneficial to us and also yourself. So we will need to restructure some of those loans over a longer period of time so that we have a breather. We may need to defer they may need to give us breathers to defer some of the payments of even the debt service, so that we can then put in place certain policies that will ensure that actual revenue profile changes. The destruction of businesses that has taken place in Kaduna town alone will take years to get back. And these were tax revenue sources. Now, if you destroy these sources without a commensurate replacement of businesses that will give you tax revenues to replace those people you are driving away, will have issues. So we still believe that there are people who love this state, Kaduna State, especially our development partners. The World Bank, the African Development Bank, and even the Islamic Development Bank have been with us for a long while. And if the resilience in continuing with the state, Kaduna State, is not so much because of our performance, it is also because they feel obligated to be part of the development process in Kaduna State. So we'll continue to appeal to these sentiments that they have about this state to continue with us, and we will seek new areas of development that will bring in new sources of revenue to fund some of our projects. Of course, we're not going to limit ourselves to only the current development partners. We'll go out to source new development partners. What this country needs, and Kaduna State, by extension, are policy measures that show that we are transparent, policy measures that that ensure that we mean well for anybody who wants to partner with us, and that's what they want. Once they have that, I am sure they will be prepared to partner with us.
Okay, right. Still the program, the agenda, and Dr. John Ayuba still with us. Dr. John Ayuba is coming in as the Deputy Governor of the state under the PDP with Issa Ashiru on board. It's time for us to take a news brief. We'll go for a news brief now, and when we come back, we'll be getting ready to take your questions, and of course, take your comments too in the program. Stay with us.
We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Victor FM. Abin kauna na, ko za ka sabunta min rajistar data ta Airtel?
Abba masoyiyata, ai komai kike ce kina so, zan yi miki. Duk abin da kike gani, ni ne nake yin rajista, amma fa ranar shagalin bikin aure na shine abin da nake kallo.
Muhimman abubuwa da harkokin rayuwa ba sa yiwa sai da ingantacciyar data. Danna star 141 hash ka zabi data mai inganci da za ta yi maka aiki cikin inganci da gamsarwa.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Taste it, love it. It's a beautiful day. You better taste it, love it.
Enjoy the creamy coffee taste of Cowbell Coffee round the clock. It's really delicious. Taste it and you'll love it. Cowbell Coffee. Taste the creamy side of coffee.
Now available in multi-pack pouches at 750 naira only.
Sunana Fadaru, ni ne likitan Fatima duk wani kuɗi da ya yagi ta amfani da salatif ɗina da reza na. Duk wanda ke da kuɗi da ke neman sauran rai dan a kashe a unguwarmu suna zuwa samuna. Amma daga yanzu na janye aikin Fatina saboda bankin biyan ababe ta Momo. Sabuwar hanyar turawa da karɓar kuɗi wanda ya fi tsabar kuɗi a hannu.
Danna star 671 hash domin buɗe wallet na Momo a yau. Hanya mafi sauƙi ta aikawa da karɓar kuɗi zuwa kowace lambar waya kyauta. Rayuwa ya ƙara sauƙi saboda Momo ya fi tsabar kuɗi a hannu.
News. If stories need to be told, they should be told with precision, truth, and authority. Trust us to bring you unadulterated information on politics, economy, entertainment, sports, and all of life. From local to international news stories as they break. Invicta News at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 6 p.m., only on Invicta 98.9 FM. Be victorious with us.
This is Invicta 98.9 FM Kaduna, Nigeria. I am Gilead Festus Awan with the news brief. President Muhammadu Buhari has made it clear that he will campaign for members of the All Progressive Congress, APC, contesting the 2023 general elections. The president, in a statement on Wednesday by his spokesman, Garba Shehu, said he will not recognize former members of the party or politicians who have court cases against the APC. The president said he will continue to support the party at all levels to enforce discipline, synchronization, and coordination. The African Democratic Congress ADC presidential candidate Dumebi Kachku has said that the federal government should recruit more people into the military as part of measures to tackle insecurity in Nigeria. Kachku, who gave the advice during an interview on national television, argued that the country is battling security challenges on multiple fronts. The ADC candidate accused the federal government of not doing enough to support the military, saying those who are at war front who expect the country to be solidly behind them do not get such backing. Foreign story here. French President Emmanuel Macron arrives in Algeria on Thursday, hoping to repair fractured relations with the nations whose oil and gas reserves have new strategic significance because of Europe's looming energy crisis. According to reports, his visit comes after a long period of tension over conflicting memories of Algeria's bloody war of independence. Report says that Algeria recalled its ambassador to Paris last year over it, but both countries have since signaled their desire for a reset. And with sports story here, Ligue 1 club Nice are in talks to sign Arsenal winger Nicolas Pep on loan. According to reports, the deal will not include an obligation to buy the 27-year-old who started just 5 times for the Gunners last season. Pep joined the North London side for a club record £72 million in 2019, but has not been able to establish himself in the Premier League. The Ivorian, whose contract expires in 2024, is yet to make an appearance this season. And that makes the news brief at 10. A major bulletin comes up at midday. Good morning and have a victorious day. Remember, the agenda continues shortly, so you stay with us.
Is the agenda, and we're just taking from this side one more question there before we come to our listeners, and of course on our Facebook page, get what callers are talking about, their comments to Lawrence.
Okay, thank you. As we wind down, we want to go to human capital development in terms of education, health, and social development. So I just want to ask, I don't know how you assess the present government in terms of human capital development, what they have done in education, health, and social development. But I just want to give some statistics to give kudos to the government. They have done the following just to promote that particular sector. And they have rebuilt, or rehabilitated 255 primary health care centers. That's each in every ward in Kaduna State, consistently from 2016. In terms of health, government has budgeted an average of 15%, in education, average of 27%, which is meeting international minimum standards. So there is free and compulsory education for primary and secondary school for people of Kaduna State. There is social development policy in Kaduna. There's a social register for the excluded group in Kaduna State. However, when we come to the problem, Kaduna has some of the worst infrastructure in terms of education. We have about 4,489 primary schools in the whole of Kaduna. Out of this, about 90%, that's 4,005, are in urban areas, leaving just about 484 in the rural communities. We want to hear what your thoughts are. With about 20,267 classrooms around, 8,239 of them are not usable. They need major repairs. In terms of health facilities, the same thing. 1,678 healthcare facilities in Kaduna. 1,094 centers, 32 secondary health facilities, 7 tertiary, 8 academic establishments, 4 post-basic training colleges in education. They are all spread around Kaduna State. Now, if you look at a report by Nigerian Demographic and Health Survey, the state has some of the worst health outcomes in Nigeria, and it is attributed to poor funding. In Kaduna has one of the worst infant mortality in the country. So if you look at this solid data coming out, and these are all data obtained, there is no one that is made up. What is your government, knowing fully well the importance of health, education, and social development in the human development sector of Kaduna State? What are you going to, first of all, what is the assessment of what the government has done? Because they've invested, as my colleague asked. Now you have seen a lot of things that have been done, yet we are having these worst outcomes. So what is your government going to do differently?
So, okay. Can I also take the last question? Because I want the callers to immediately answer. We get the callers to also coming. Kaduna currently has, based on the states of states released by budget, an unemployment and underemployment rate of about 67%. And in that report, they recommended that for us to address unemployment issues, we need to create about 277,773 jobs annually in that direction. So specifically, we are more focused on, let's say, micro businesses, which you have highlighted earlier on. There's this report by the National Bureau of Statistics and SMED, and that was released in 2013. They did a survey and they found out that we had about 1.6 million micro enterprises then in 2013 in Kaduna State, which represent about 2.4 million jobs. Then the report also said that there are about 2,712 small enterprises with fewer than 50 employees, and 170 million enterprises with 50 to 199 employees, representing about 111,000 jobs. So 7 years, or let's say almost, about close to 10 years after, what would you state that your party would do differently, considering that the state government has set up KADIPA, the investment promotion agency authority in Kaduna, then also an agency that deals with micro businesses? Do you think we've done well, and what would your government do differently to ensure that we're able to address this unemployment issue at 67% and be able to create about 200,000 jobs annually?
Thank you very much, Lawrence and Yusuf, for your questions. I am impressed with the brilliant data that you have churned out. And there's one thing that I observed from all the data that you've churned out. It just shows clearly that it has been so much talk but no performance. Because if you are looking at really, for all these figures that they say they have spent, and you still have these terrible figures, that are brought out by independent bodies that have no political interest in Kaduna State. Then it means the incoming government is into a lot of work to do, and we are prepared, for that work. Let me also say that when you talk of the number of hospitals that they say they have rehabilitated, and I asked a very simple question, even though the campaigns have not started. And when the campaigns start, we will give you pictures. We will bring out facts and figures about some of the purportedly rehabilitated health centers and the rest of them. Let the campaigns come and you will see that no lies can stand. And we'll bring them. We'll bring them up. In the area of job creation, our target really is to ensure that the small and medium-scale enterprises are encouraged to flourish, because all over the world they are the biggest employers of labor, and the youth of Kaduna State have shown that they are very creative. All we need to do is to create avenues for them to unbundle this energy that they have in the right direction. Unfortunately, when you look at the rural areas where these agri-processing plants are supposed to be, to be established, where they can, really work, there's no electricity. So there are challenges here and there, but we'll have a holistic look at the issues. But our policy direction will be to create small and medium scale enterprises for both women and the youth. And how do we intend to do that? There are some small scale loan guarantees that we'll be able to give. In some of the commercial banks, they have these small scale loans, but because the people who will want to access them don't have a collateral that they will give them. So we may need to come in to provide some comfort to these banks so that they can give them those facilities for them to be able to move on. The central bank also has facilities for small and medium scale enterprises. We will open the doors and take these youths to be able to access some of these loans. Unfortunately, in the past, Kaduna State had this microcredit scheme. I don't know what has happened to it at the moment, where we used to collect the loans and disburse to the young people who were interested, and we could see a number of them thriving. At the moment, I don't know whether they are still working, but when we get in, we'll take a look at that and see how we can complement the efforts of the private sector in that area, because we don't have resources, and we're even going to be faced with more serious challenges. The best way we can help is to take the hands of these young people and the women to this private sector so that they can take some of these loans and they'll be able to start their lives all over. We just pray that the security situation improves, because they cannot afford the land in the urban areas. The cost of land in urban areas will be too much for them. So it will be more encouraging for them to have those small industries located in semi-urban and rural areas. Where
Dr. John, sorry, it's just about what we can take for you for now, because we'll still take questions from our listeners and, of course, comments from our Facebook page. And numbers to join, to call us on to be part of this conversation would be on 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 87 800 989. 070-87-800-989. And on our Facebook page, join us in Victor 98.9. We're taking your calls now. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
Good morning to all your guests. Yeah, you are on to Engineer Emmanuel.
I hear you.
And the guests have spoken very well, but I want to ask 1 to 2 questions. Number one, despite the fact put some light on it. Now, with the debt profile of Kaduna State, if paraventure they came into office, how will they begin to pay that debt? Despite the fact that we were told that the RGR of Kaduna has risen up to how many billion, but now this debt that this present administration...
Engineer Emmanuel, just go straight to the questions.
Okay, now, how will they manage the debt profile on ground? If
we got you on that. We got you on that.
Okay, that's by the way. Then the issue of the insecurity in Kaduna presently now, that even people that have their own house now, they have vacated, now they are now tenants. How will they be able to tackle this issue of insecurity so that people will be able to sleep with their 2 eyes closed?
Okay.
Then finally,
Engineer Emmanuel, we got you on that. Engineer Emmanuel, let's limit it to that, please. Still with your calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
I'm Usman on the line from Azu.
Was it the name Mustafa?
Usman.
Usman, okay.
Yes, Usman Isa Bilal.
Usman Bilal, yes.
Yeah. Let me just ask your guest this question. He's talking of transparency here. It's because of transparency they push them out of the system. Because the previous government are not transparent.
Usman. Okay, transparency. And, all right. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, are you hearing me?
Yes, please, go on.
Yes, I am very interested in the way you people ask this question to the deputy governor. But what interests me most is the fact that he scored this government 40%. So I'm very happy about that. But what I want to say is this. Please let you people record this message and hand it over to him. Let him give it to the governor if he's been elected, so that he will be playing it and be hearing this message. Thank you very much.
Your name, please, before you go. Your name?
My name is Mr. Anyobi.
Anyobi.
Calling from Romi.
All right, Anyobi. Thank you. All right. One more call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Sir Tony Alabi.
Good morning.
Good morning to your guests in the studio there. Sir, my name is Comrade Gabriel, the unpaid examiner. What I want to, first of all, let me congratulate His Excellency, the Governor of Karnataka, because on insecurity, he has made what a governor is supposed to do. He has already, first, he said he will not negotiate with the criminals. Second, he said he knows where they are and where we call them. And thirdly, he wrote to the president that this is what is happening in Kaduna State. Secondly, sir, Kaduna was the second to Lagos in terms of industry, and your guests always, some of the guests always omitted this Texas industry. We have almost about 15 Texas industry in Canada that can employ close to about 600,000 workers. But up to today, none of them has been open or reactivated. What will this government going to do about Texas? Because as I'm speaking to you, since 2022, nobody has paid Canada Texas Limited any kobo. The workers there about 2,200 with a recorded 480 dead. What are we going to do? What is he going to do to say that they return back all this? And so Kaduna will be second to Lagos.
All right, Comrade Gabriel.
We
got you on that. We got you on that. Okay, we'll just come to Dr.
Thank you very much, listeners, for your questions. Engineer Emmanuel, on the debt profile, I had told you that we're aware of the burden of the debt profile, and the first thing we're going to do is to talk with those that we owe. We'll have to sit down with them and look at restructuring. What I mean by restructuring is seeing how we can extend the repayment, because the truth of the matter is, as we are right now, the revenue we're earning cannot meet that profile, and we cannot get the money to start the repayment from the one that we're coming into office. So the first thing we're going to do is to try to get a breather, some space. By sitting down with those that we owe, we will negotiate with them on how they can extend by some period the payment of both interest and principal. Once we get that, then we'll go to work on the generation of the revenue, which is something that I had told you how we'll go about it. On the insecurity, I have said severally, we want to approach security from the point of view of empowering the local communities to be able to be the first line of defense before the security forces come in. And that means empowering them. That's the most I can say, because we don't discuss security issues in the open. Osman Bilal said the PDP government was pushed out of office because of lack of transparency. I want him to ask himself very honestly if transparency has improved under the current government beyond what we had in the PDP. If he says in truth that they are more transparent than us, then he can come for us to discuss further on that issue. On Anyobi?
Yes,
Anyobi had asked about, that you should record this. That is for you, not for me. But because we are a government that will be self-accounting, with or without that tape being played back to us, we will work according to the promises that we make to the people of Kaduna State, because it's a social contract and we will live by it. Comrade Gabriel, on the textile industries in Kaduna, you may not be aware that the PDP governments of the Vice President Namadi Sambo, Yakowa, and subsequently Ramalan had identified power as the major reasons why the textile factories in Kaduna folded up. And one of the measures that was being worked out was to ensure that power, a 30 megawatts power plant was to be installed in Gurara Dam, and it was going to be evacuated. And up to the time I left government, I know that the transformers for the evacuation had already been installed. At this point in time, I don't know what has happened, but a responsible government would have ensured that within 8 years that was completed. When we get on board, we will ensure that is completed and that we can reactivate the textile factories in Kaduna South.
Okay, Gilead, let's go to our Facebook page, see what's coming out there.
Okay, we have tons of messages right here, and okay, Gabriel GP is saying good morning to you and your guests. Please, sir, if you people come to the office, will the Kaduna State own school fees still be the same? Thank you. A question right there. Okay, Zakaria John Dam says, I really like your program this morning, and my incoming deputy governor, by God's grace, is really hitting the nail on the head. I just want to plead with the PDP to stay focused and avoid unnecessary distractions from this administration. Okay, let me move on. And Akia Steven says, good morning, Victor FM and your guests. Based on the analysis of a failed educational system in Kaduna by this administration, what will you do to the unpaid SAC teachers? Unnecessary deductions of salaries from civil servants by this administration if elected come 2023. Dr. John Ayuba is speaking without statistics. This is coming from Lobekson Sajo, and he says, let him go to his village and find out how the education system is in his village. Okay, this is how much I can take. Maybe one more.
Okay, this will do now.
Okay.
Let's just come to Doctor.
It's not. I mean, I hear the comments of, the listeners. They are part of the people who are going into a social contract with, and I want to assure them that a PDP government, as they are aware of, if they are old enough to have been part of the experiences of the PDP government from 1999 to 2015, they will know that we keep most of our promises. And let me end on a note that will be like, when your car breaks down, if it's a new car, don't take it to the roadside mechanic. Take it to the manufacturer or the authorized dealer. It will be better fixed for you. PDP in 16 years got this state to an enviable position. Forget about the propaganda of corruption that, we know that corruption is worse now than it was even during the PDP era. The state has been messed up. The people to fix it are the PDP. Don't get another apprentice that is just coming newly, that doesn't even know what the problems are. This applies to the issue of the traditional institutions. It applies to teachers that have been sacked. It applies to civil servants that have been sacked. So this is an opportunity for you to recall a government that served you with purpose and that made you to have peace of mind. The time is for you to restore that government so that life will return to normal.
Okay, thank you. Yusuf, you want to talk?
Yes, so mine is just a funny question. Most people have said your principal is shy of the media. So when would we have your principal to come and also share his thoughts on some of these ideas you've shared with us? And hopefully we also hope to have that of the APC to come and also give us their side of the story. So we want to, because this is what is out there, that your media, your principal doesn't like to engage media, and a lot of theories around why he doesn't want to come and really speak out to the people. So we want to hear your thoughts on that. Then secondly, probably get your assurance that you help us invite him to be part of.
Let me say that Right Honorable Isa Shiru is not shy of the media. He's just a gentleman. If you know, everybody has his own nature. He comes across to people as somebody who is gentle. But behind that gentle mien that he has is a heart of steel. And I can tell you that no politician or nobody who wants to be a politician can be shy of the media, because it is the media that will confront you with the promises that you have made. I want to also assure you that Right Honorable Isa Shiru will be prepared to come in here at the very earliest. And I'll bring this. I'm sure he may be listening to this program. I'm sure he's also going to be excited to come and tell the people of Kaduna State the social contract he wants to go into with them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Lawrence, last line. Okay, just drop.
Well, mine is to the people of Kaduna. The whole idea of the agenda is to bring you people who are seeking for your vote, knowing fully well that you are the most important constituency. Over the past 2 months, about 8 weeks, we've continued to bring people to talk to you. And we are hoping that you will listen to them, remove emotions and sentiment, and be able to make sensible judgment in 2023. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. Dr. John Marcus Ayuba, I'd like to thank you so very much for finding time to be part of this program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
All right. My colleagues in the studios who have been on the panel too, Yusuf Goje, thank you for being part of it.
Always a pleasure.
All right. Lawrence Obewe, we thank you too for that.
Good morning, Cardinal.
Yes, and we'll not forget the entourage of Deputy Governor who came to the studios with him. Thank you for coming on the program this morning. All right. And Gilead, we thank you for connecting us with the people this morning. And Wisdom, thank you for putting us in the pictures. We'll come back with the agenda next Thursday. Have a good day.